Series has made its way down to Daytona Beach, Florida. And today, it's a young 18-year-old, Dylan Kwasniewski. He will bring the 40-car field to the green flag in just his second ARCA start. Fellow 18-year-old Chase Elliott, ARCA's youngest super speedway winner, will try to get to the victory lane his father, Bill, drove into 11 times. Everyone has to keep their eye on last year's Daytona winner, John West Townley. The Georgia native will start 9th today. Defending series champion, record holder for most wins in the series, Frank Kimmel has one thing missing from a near-perfect racing resume, a win here at Daytona. The 2014 edition of ARCA Racing Series starts right now.
Everybody that grows up wanting to be a race car driver wants to race at Daytona.
For the biggest stage and the biggest race of the ARCA Racing Series season.
Fans on their feet, green flag in the air, we're underway. All you gotta do is hold it wide open, don't hit anything.
Didn't take long to get 3 wide, did it?
Here they are, 4 wide.
Daytona's the biggest race of the year. It is an honor to run at this track, and if you win here, it's something you'll never forget. Gerhardt on the outside, 4 wide as they come into the tri-oval. He'll win again. Bobby Gerhardt climbs out the 8th time. A champion in the ARCA Racing Series at Daytona.
Experience versus youth. It's gonna get pretty wild and crazy.
Well, they'll definitely be on the edge of their seat.
Whoa, trouble. This is a tough way to start the season at Daytona. John West Townley will win at Daytona.
The celebration will start right now for the whole Victory family. Welcome to the Lucas Oil 200 from Daytona International Speedway. It's been over 3 months since the 2013 champion was crowned, and the teams are ready to start their quest for the 2014 title. A gorgeous afternoon in Daytona Beach, Florida. 66 degrees, the wind blowing about 11 miles per hour, and partly sunny skies above. Hello everyone, Rick Allen, Phil Parsons with you once again for another season of ARCA Series Racing. And we come back to Daytona, and a lot of drivers have different agendas in this field.
Yeah, Dylan Kwasniewski, our K&N champion from the East last year, has to get some experience in order to be able to run the nationwide race next week. NASCAR said you have to run the ARCA race. Also, Chase Elliott, same situation, a winner in the Truck Series last year. Going to run the nationwide series full-time. You have to get some experience in the ARCA series at Daytona, be eligible for next week. And then Jeb Burton, he moved over to Thor Sport Racing. They have a championship winning team from last year that said, hey, why don't we run this ARCA race in preparation for the truck race next week?
All right, so those are guys that want to come out here and win this race. How about the guys who are looking at the big picture, the 2014 championship?
Yeah, John West Townley, who won this race last year, he announced he's going to run full-time in the ARCA Racing Series. He needs to get a good start to his season here. Justin Boston, 3rd in points last year. He wants to win that championship. And Frank Kimmel, 10-time champion. The only thing on his bucket list that he hasn't done is win here.
Before the drivers climbed into their cars, we were able to talk to a couple of them. Let's start off going down to Ray Dunlap.
Last year, Chase Elliott became the youngest winner on a super speedway in the ARCA Racing Series. Today, you make your Daytona debut. I'm curious, your dad's a 2-time winner of the Daytona 500, and he has the fastest qualifying record at this track ever. So what kind of advice has he given for you today?
Well, the biggest thing was over here at the test a couple weeks ago. He was able to run that nationwide test with me and was able to explain some of the things you can kind of use on the aero side to use that to your advantage. So I feel like if I can put some of that to use today, try to stay out of trouble, hopefully get to HendrickCars.com, Napa Brake, Chevrolet, and Victory Lane.
All right, have a good time today. That is Chase Elliott. The Elliott name synonymous with racing at Daytona. Let's hear from the guy who's synonymous with winning in ARCA. He's with Jim Trado.
And Ray, Frank Kimmel's record stands alone. Now the winningest driver in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. He's done it in a lot of different ways. 5 different team owners to gather up 80 victories, including 6 last year with Thor Sport Racing, which got him to that lone standing on top of the standings as an all-time win leader here in the ARCA Racing Series. But we mentioned those 5 owners, Frank. You're on to another team, another opportunity with Wintron Racing. Talk about the excitement, the pensive nature you have going into this season with a new team, although everything else looks the same.
Yeah, the car looks exactly the same. And, we had a great year last year. So anytime you have a great year, you want to go out the next year and do better. And, with Wintron, it's a new deal. But, Nate and Kevin and all the guys there, they put out really good race cars. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're going to have a great season. And I don't know if we can top what we did last year, but we're going to try.
The one win left to win here is at Daytona for Frank Kimmel. He's looking for that elusive victory here today.
And Frank Kimmel would love nothing more than to be able to pull into victory lane at the end of this one. But first, we've got to get the engines fired. We go for the command.
Now, here to deliver the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, a Lucas Oil distributor and owner of Martin's Precision Automotive, Paul Martins.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
40 cars have come to life to kick off the 2014 season at the World Center of Racing right here at Daytona International Speedway. The green flag when we come back. This is the 50th ARCA race at Daytona. Green flag in the air. We're underway with 2013. John West Townley looking for his first win in the ARCA Racing Series.
Very anxious moments right now for John West. Which way is he going to go? They're too wide for him.
Coming into the tri-oval. John West Townley will win at Daytona. A big win to start the 2013 year.
The Venderinis finally get to victory lane in Daytona.
A year ago, John West Townley started from the pole and won the race. This year, the 9th position will be where he will start. Let's see if he can make it all the way to the front for the Lucas Oil 200. Starting up front, the winner of the Menards Pole Award presented by Ansel ends up going to Dylan Kwasniewski, Phil.
Yeah, it took him a couple hours to realize that he won the pole because we had a couple cars that qualified ahead of him actually have their times disallowed. So that put Dylan on the pole here for his second ever ARCA start.
Dylan Kwasniewski, in just his second start, will bring the field to the green flag when it flies in just a moment. The starting lineup will roll across the side of your screen. Again, Kwasniewski and Enfinger making up row number 1. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers, one of those being Justin Boston, the 24-year-old. Third in points from a year ago, running for a championship for Venturini Motorsports, with Loop on board with that car, and he will start 29th today.
Spencer Gallagher was scheduled to start second. He's one of those cars that was disqualified from qualifying, so he jumped in his team car, and he will start that Allegiant Chevrolet, Travel Chevrolet, from the very back of the pack.
We're going to ride along with last year's winner, John West Townley. Again, started from the pole a year ago to get that first win in the ARCA Racing Series right here at Daytona. Now he's starting 9th today.
Mason Mitchell was 6th in points last year despite missing a race. Started a brand new team, his sponsor Thermal Technology Services, and he will start his 4th from the 6th spot.
Also going to ride along with the 99 of Buster Graham. Buster driving for the Rouleau brothers. He will start in the 3rd position, that 48-year-old.
We're also going to ride along with Grant Enfinger. He had 2 wins last year, Mobile, his home state, and at Iowa, and he will start his Motor Honey 4th from the 2nd position.
Always one of the big races that we keep our eye on within the season is the Rookie of the Year fight and our Scott Rookie Challenge. Take a look at some of our former Rookies of the Year. Bobby Gerhart won Rookie of the Year. Justin Boston a year ago. Frank Kimmel, also a former Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and a 10-time champion.
92 was when he was Rookie of the Year, and what an incredible season he had a year ago. Won the final race of the year to go to get his 80th win, as well as claim, as you mentioned, that 10th Series championship. For some final thoughts before the green flag flies, let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, if you want to win the championship in the ARCA Racing Series, you've got to beat Frank Kimmel. But if you want to win the Lucas Oil 200 here at Daytona, you've got to beat Bobby Gerhart. There's no other team in this garage that puts more effort into trying to win at Daytona, and it's paid off handsomely for this team. Bobby, an 8-time winner here at this racetrack. When they come here to test, they're in race mode. But today, he's going to have to work extra hard because he'll roll off from the back of the field because of a post-qualifying inspection infraction. Bobby Gerhart knows how to get it done here, but he's got a lot of cars to pass. Jim Trado?
An array of cars starting in row number 3 is young Mason Mitchell at 19 years of age, 9 straight top 10s last year to rocket to 6th in points. What did he do in the offseason to prepare for this? This number 98, brand new car, brand new team. Mason Mitchell Motorsports is where he literally lives. He lives in this shop. They brought in NASCAR veteran Brad Parrott to work with this young man and run this team from the pit box, but Mason very excited on his chances of winning a championship He knows it starts today, but with those streaks of top 10s, he wants to continue that here today. He's got a strong Ford to do it. Guys?
Thanks, Jim. We touched a little bit upon the infractions that took place in qualifying. Let's get a little more in depth with that. Out of the top 10, 5 of the top 10 times were disallowed after post-qualifying inspection.
Yeah, the ARCA Racing Series has a very stringent inspection post-qualifying. And you see right here, Bobby Gerhard, Ray just talked about him. He has to go to the pack. He had modified the trailing arms to get a little more travel in the rear of the car. Tyler Reddick, Justin Boston, Lyle Munter's cars all had unapproved adjustments to either the front or the rear springs. Now Spencer Gallagher's car, the 23, he had intentionally had a lowering device, a mechanical lowering device to that car. That car was disqualified, way more than just having his time disallowed. That's why he had to jump in this backup car, his teammate's car.
That's correct. He was in the 23 when he qualified. That qualification was disallowed, and he was taken out of the field. The car was. He was able to jump into the 20, which was a team car. This is the first of 10 races that will be on Fox Sports 1. Talladega Super Speedway will be the next stop for the ARCA Racing Series right here on Fox Sports 1.
That great short track battle at Toledo Speedway. All-star weekend. A very weekend for Fox Sports 1.
A very diverse series, the ARCA Racing Series. They also race on super speedways, short tracks, intermediate tracks, as well as on dirt.
Yeah,
and road courses.
Until we went to Eldora and the road course, it was the most diverse series in America. Now the truck series is very comparable to this ARCA Racing Series.
Field 2x2, and that's another thing that will be different in 2014 with the ARCA Racing Series. They will have double file restarts starting right here at Daytona. So no longer will you have the lead lap cars on the outside and the lap down cars on the inside. Now it will be all lead lap cars 2x2 at the front of the field. Dylan Kwasniewski, Grant Enfinger side by side as they come into the tri-oval. The pace car is off the racetrack, leaving the field in the hands of 18-year-old Dylan Kwasniewski. Coming into the tri-oval, green flag in the air, we're underway. One other rule that ARCA told these drivers is there is no bump drafting in the corners. They can do it on the straightaways in the tri-oval, but no bump drafting in the corners.
Our president, ARCA President Ron Drager, stressed that during the drivers' meeting. No bumping in the corners.
And a clean field through 1 and 2 as they rocket down the back stretch. Dylan Kwasniewski in front of this field.
I was talking to Dylan down in the garage area this morning. They actually had a final practice for the ARCA Racing Series. A number of the cars decided not to go out, but Dylan was one of those cars that did. And he said, man, is this thing a rocket ship? It will pull up like no other car that he's ever been in.
Another car we're going to keep our eye on. That's 69 of Will Kimmel running toward the front of this pack. Father Bill Kimmel talked about how good that car is. And he goes to the high side,
making it 3 wide right now. Interesting story. That car actually is a former pole sitter here for the Daytona 500, driven by David Gillen. And that car's been really in a showroom for the last few years. Bill Kimmel bought that car and engine, and here it is here running well.
Riding along with Justin Boston. That's the look you have here at Daytona. Very difficult to see around these cars. You run in big packs. And right now it's 3 wide as they work their way through 3 and 4.
That red car, top of the racetrack, leading that top line. That's the 69 of Will Kimmel. You have Terry Jones right behind him in the 32 car. That's another one of the Wintron entries, that black and yellow car.
Inside line hugging the double yellow line. Also out of bounds for the ARCA Racing Series here at Daytona. You can't pass below the double yellow lines. If you improve your position, you can either give it back or ARCA will black flag you and make you come down pit road.
Talked to a lot of the crew chiefs in the garage here, and they really feel like the double file restarts are going to change how this race runs. Right now you see everybody line up and they're really fighting to get down to the bottom to the double yellow line. But when you have the second place car on the outside of the first place car on these restarts, that's when they think they're going to stay in 2 lines for a good while.
And now the 69 of Will Kimmel, working his way a little bit closer to the inside, trying to get a side draft off that 88 of Justin Allison. Ray.
The number 69 car guys found out this morning in practice that it goes really, really well with the number 44, his Uncle Frank. So I won't be surprised to see those two guys get together. They did a little bit of drafting, and they said those two cars together are lightning fast.
Will Kimmel still trying that outside line, hasn't tucked into the inside line yet. We haven't seen the outside line move as far as challenging for positions moving up through this field. So far, it's been that inside line that's been the fast one.
Yeah, Will really hasn't had an opportunity to get in that inside line yet. You see Bobby Gerhart, that Lucas Oil black number 5 on the outside. He's on the move. He's made up a bunch of positions. He goes by the 25 of Justin Boston. Bobby started all the way back at the back of the pack, now has moved up 17 positions.
We've seen Bobby try different strategies as far as getting to victory lane here at Daytona. He's done it 8 times, so he's had multiple strategies work for him. One of those was a couple years back when he came in on lap number 5 to pit and then stayed out the rest of the race.
Yeah, I talked to his crew chief and brother Billy Gerhart. I said, when is too early to pit? He said, it's never too early to pit. Here I said, but the thing is, if he pits now, if the caution were to come out, he still has the option of coming in later. But he knows if he runs 5 laps, he feels like they're getting good enough fuel mileage to run the distance.
And so Bobby Gerhart, after starting at the back of the field, making his way up through the field, has already made it up to the 23rd spot out of the 40-car field. On the inside, the 13, we saw a glimpse of Jeb Burton making a start here in the ARCA Racing Series.
Bobby gets the wall.
Goes the 5 of Bobby Gerhart. So Gerhart now drops back through the field after kissing the wall. And there will be some damage to the right side of that car.
Well, that's not the plan. I'll guarantee you he may have to come to pit road. Probably should come to pit road. He was running in the 24th spot. You see some tire smoke now. He made some pretty good contact with the outside safer barrier.
He's going to hang with the pack as they come out of turn number 4 and stay on that outside line. We'll see if he tries to move over. This is what happened.
Looks like he just got a little bit too wide. I'm not sure. I think all the tires are up. He stayed on the racetrack. You see he is on the top side of 3 wide.
One thing we have to remember, during Cup practice earlier, a few engine failures. They brought out the Speedy Dry, cleaned the track off, but some of that could have been up on the high side of this track still.
That's a possibility, but with the Cup cars making nothing but simulated qualifying runs, they're going to run the very top side of the racetrack in preparation to take the green flag. So I really don't think that was an issue.
Bobby Gerhart, smoke still continues to come out from underneath that car. Right now, more than likely, it's tire rub. The tire smoke that's coming off of the 5 as he got into the outside wall on that right side. And still, you can see off front right tire, smoke coming out of that. Ray Dunlap.
Bobby Gerhart on the radio saying, do I need to pit? And Billy Gerhart is his brother. He's on the pit box. He said, give me one more lap. I want to take a better look at it. So they're going to try to make the decision on the backstretch this time whether or not he needs to come to pit road to pull the fenders.
Guys, I think he needs to come to pit road. And right now, if I was Bobby, I would run right against the wall, because if he cuts a tire down, he's not going to hit the wall nearly as hard as if he's up close to it.
And I think he's hearing you, listening to your advice. Now he comes back down in the middle of the track. So Bobby Gerhart, after hitting the wall, it's been all Dylan Kwasniewski out in front. Grant Enfinger, Buster Graham, Chase Elliott, Mason Mitchell, your top 5. That hasn't changed in the 9 laps that we've run.
It's amazing to think that we have an 8-time winner here at Daytona, and he's the first car to have a problem and get into the outside wall, even though it didn't bring out a caution flag.
Field continues to work its way around the 2.5-mile super speedway here at Daytona International Speedway. Dylan Kwasniewski, your race leader, 8-time winner. Bobby Gerhart with troubles early. We stay green.
18 cars in that Sprint Unlimited tonight.
11 laps complete. It's been all Dylan Kwasniewski up front after capturing the pole earlier. Grant Enfinger running second. Buster Graham, Chase Elliott, Mason Mitchell are your top 5. John West Townley, winner from a year ago, running in the 6th spot. Brian Silas up there in the top 10. He runs 7. Dylan Kwasniewski, 2 championships in the K&N Pro Series. He won a championship in the West Series, then made the move over to the East Series. Was able to capture a championship there, continuing to get his stock car experience, and now able to lead this field here at Daytona. Jim Trado.
The benefit of what he has is a great team. Turner's Motorsports, Turner Scott Motorsports has surrounded him with veterans. This young man has Eddie DeHaan telling him what to do, how to draft off the lap cars to get where he needs to get. They've also paired him with Pat Tryson, who's won races in Sprint Cup.
Around goes the 99, Jim
Trado.
Buster Graham in the 99, running in the 3rd spot, spinning, coming out of turn number 4. And the carnage happens behind him.
See the 13 of Jeb Burton involved.
Justin Allison in the 88. We see the 48 sliding across the grass. That's Sean Core. Justin Boston in the 25, running for a championship. A lot of damage to the left front of that car.
See Justin turning the switches off. There's the Smoky Mountain Herbal Snuff Toyota for Jeb Burton.
The first car we saw sideways was that 99, Buster Graham. He had been running in the 3rd spot. This could be an issue of someone coming up behind him and maybe tapping him in the back where he got a little bit loose.
Scotty Hubler in the 7 car, talked to him this morning. He was so optimistic about having a good run here. There's that 99 car that you were talking about, Buster Graham. That's the first car we saw sideways there between the exit of turn number 4 and the tri-oval.
Also involved, 33 of Cody Weisner. This was an incident that happened coming out of turn 4. Mark Thompson in the 66. You see the window net down already on that car, and a lot of damage.
And Mark was a top 10 finisher here last year. He finished in the 8th spot.
17 drivers were making their first Daytona ARCA Series starts in this race, so a lot of youth, but also there was experience out there on the track.
Yeah, I think Mark Thompson was a victim of circumstances. I don't think he had anywhere to go once that 99 car, Buster Graham, turned sideways and then came back across the racetrack.
UNOH 33. Cody Weisner left front locked up on that one. Also on pit road already, the 8 of Cole Powell. Will Kimmel, the 69. So much promise for the start of this season. They love that car.
Evan Messinas and Ingersoll Rand that came on board to help this situation happen. And we saw Will hung up on the outside, couldn't get back down to the bottom. He settled into about the 15th spot.
Yeah.
But Buster Graham was running up in the top 5 where this incident started.
Window net down for Justin Boston, trying to get his belts undone so that he can climb out of that car. Also Benny Gordon in the 11. Extensive damage to the front of that car. Here's Justin Boston climbing out of the car. All the drivers that climb out of their car will have to take the mandatory ride to the infield care center to be checked out. Here's coming off of turn 4.
It looks like there may have been a bit of a tap from Chase Elliott in the 9 car into the back of that 99 of Buster Graham. Chase may have been tapped a little bit from behind by the 98 of Mason Mitchell.
Yeah, accordion effect once again. We see that so many times when we come to super speedways like here and Talladega. It's right along with the 99.
Hard contact right there. If it was a tap, it was just the slightest of nudges, but that's really all you need here.
Yeah, got him out of shape. Buster Graham goes around and everyone trying to scatter behind him, trying to find a line through. Mark Thompson couldn't do it. He was first to make contact with Buster Graham.
A lot of drivers did an amazing job getting by. There's Jeb Burton, the 13 car turns sideways. He gets run into in the side there. We saw Bobby Gerhardt go by on the side. Looks like he might have got through there. You see Jeb Burton forced into the 56 of Mark Thompson.
02 of Mario Goslin also caught up in this.
These cars are crashing right in front of Bobby Gerhardt. It looks like Bobby was able to get by without any damage, any more damage. He already had damage from that earlier contact with the wall.
Cars trying to make their way down pit road.
That was Will Kimmel, the 69, red 69, and Justin Boston making significant contact.
The sun obviously not helping the drivers at all either when they came out of turn 4, sun right in their eyes.
Yeah, Will Kimmel was on the inside of the racetrack, and he came across pit road there, the entrance to pit road.
Temper's already high on pit road. Not happy at all about the outcome of this incident. Team members voicing their displeasure. You see the right side damage to the 5 of Bobby Gerhardt. That happened in an incident unrelated to the most recent one. Bobby Gerhardt got up into the wall. He was the first one to have any issues on the track. And now, more recently, we have had the yellow flag come out for the incident coming out of turn number 4. Buster Graham sideways coming out of 4, and that causes the big one. And welcome back to Daytona. Under our first caution in the Lucas Oil 200. This one happening after an incident coming out of turn number 4. 15 cars involved in this pileup that took place when Buster Graham got sideways coming out of turn 4. May have had a little tap from the 9 of Chase Elliott.
Yeah, Buster was reporting, we heard during the commercial break, of having a tight condition on exit of the corners. Now, that may have been enough to just stall a little bit of momentum to allow that 9 of Chase Elliott maybe to get into the back of him. But it looked like the 98, Mason Mitchell, who was behind the 9, looked like he closed up on the 9. Don't know if it was a chain reaction situation or not.
So difficult. You don't ever want to get out of line, especially if you're down on the double yellow line. But nowhere to go for Chase Elliott. Gets into the back of the 99, and around it goes. Track.
Yeah, the Buster Graham drives for the Rulo brothers, who won the championship a couple years ago with Chris Buescher. That was the 99 car that was involved, and they had gone to the 9 pit box to vote to note their displeasure with what went on exactly, and obviously some loud words, had a bit of an exchange, and then security was there very quickly to try to dispel that.
Chase Elliott currently being scored in the 3rd position now, right?
And guys, Chase Elliott on the radio saying that he absolutely did not touch the number 99. He said that car was spinning out and that he didn't have any contact at all. So the crew members down here are trying to take a look at the front of that 9 car, but Chase said no contact at all.
We're going to take another look at it. Again, 3rd car in line is Chase Elliott in the 9, and just in front of him, Buster Graham in the 99.
Right there, that's the 99, and that's the 9 right there. I mean, they're very, very close. You saw there was a little bit of a gap in front of the 99.
Yeah, if there wasn't contact, I mean, it was close.
We could hear that Buster Graham never got out of the throttle. He may have come off the floor a little bit, but we saw he was complaining again about a bit of a tight condition. We saw that car move up the racetrack a little bit, but as you mentioned, Rick, if Chase didn't get into the back of the 99, it was awfully close, and the 99 was right on the back of the 9 of Chase Elliott's also. I'm sorry, the 98 of Mason Mitchell.
They were running 3rd and 4th. Buster Graham was 3rd, Chase Elliott was 4th. Now, after the incident, your top 5, Dylan Kwasniewski, Grant Enfinger, Chase Elliott, Mason Mitchell, and John West Townley has moved up into that top 5. Mason Mitchell, the 19-year-old out of the Midwest, West Des Moines, Iowa.
Jim mentioned earlier he reeled off 9 top 10 finishes in a row towards the end of the season to move up to 6th in points. Actually started out the year with the Rulo brothers team, switched teams, missed a race, and still finished in the 6th spot.
Riding along with the 98 when this incident took place.
I don't think he got into the back of the 9. He was very close. We heard him back off the throttle when the 99 of Buster Graham got sideways.
Pit road is open now. We'll see who, I'm guessing everyone will come onto pit road now, because you'd be in your window if you come onto pit road filled up with fuel.
Yeah, we're going to have 59 laps to go, and I think everybody in the garage area felt like they could go between 60 and 65 laps, and that doesn't even count caution laps. They're going to help you get better fuel mileage. So I think you're right. I think every car is going to come down pit road here, maybe have enough fuel to get to the end.
And here they come, Ray Dunlap.
Well, the 90 of Grant Enfinger's car is just a little bit loose. They want to make an air pressure adjustment on that Motor Honey car. They're hoping to put something together to run for the full season. Today, a big day to try to help that happen. Top of your screen, you see the 4. At the bottom, Chase Elliott in the number 9. He rolls in with his Napa Brakes race car. They're going to make an adjustment for him to try to help him in the center of the corners. Jim?
Dylan Kwasniewski from the pole has led every lap thus far. The call has been for fuel only. Crew chief Pat Tryson says fuel only. No air pressure adjustment. No change of Hoosier tires. This could be the only stop. He's got pit stall 1. Let's see if he holds the lead here. They're calling him away, but he's not the car come off pit road first. He'll come out 3rd.
Actually 4th, Jim Trado. There was 3 cars that beat that 4 off of pit road. One of them might have made a mistake and missed his pit stall, because he went by Dylan Kwasniewski almost the time Dylan Kwasniewski got into his stall.
You see most of the cars electing not to change tires. Here's the race off pit road. You see Dylan Kwasniewski beat Mason Mitchell to the line.
And welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Lucas Oil 200 is underway. We've completed 21 of our 80 laps.
Why don't we see if we can talk to the driver of the 9 car, Chase Elliott.
Idle here.
He's talking to us.
Cut it off here at coast, or don't do that yet.
Talking about saving some fuel.
Sounds a lot like his dad.
Hey, Chase, Phil Parsons up in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, buddy, go ahead.
Chase, that was a tough situation off of turn number 4. It looked like maybe the 99 car had moved up the racetrack a little bit. He was complaining about being a little bit tight. And we had a report that you said there was absolutely no contact from your car to the back of the 99.
Yeah, I swear I didn't feel like I hit him there. I didn't feel like I was even close, honestly. So I'm not sure. I have to see a replay, but I really don't think I got into him there. It was like he just got tight and got a little too much wheel in it and sent him around.
How is that sun now? This time of the day, usually that sun gets pretty bad. It looks coming off of turn number 4. How's the sun for you? Looks like you may be shielding your eyes now.
Yeah, and the sun's really, really bad right now. I'm sure that's going to play a factor here for a little while.
All right, buddy, they're giving you 1 to go. Finish this thing off. You got enough fuel to go to the end?
We hope so. We'll find out here shortly.
All right, Chase, thanks.
Thank you.
Development driver for Hendrick. You had mentioned that sun. He's got his hand up over the visor as he comes out of turn number 4, and that's exactly what all these drivers were dealing with when they came out of turn number 4, when they saw or tried to see the cars that were involved in that incident. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Will Kimmel has come out of the infield care center, and we've caught up with him. Will, looked like you had maybe the best car you've ever had at Daytona, but it looks like it's done for the day.
Yeah, it might be done for good. I'm not sure. You know, Doug Yates sold me an awful good car there. It was running real good, you know. It's a shame. We come down here to race, and we got a lot of kids that haven't been here, or kids or people, whoever, that haven't been here. And, you know, for 3 or 4 laps, I sit there and watch them beat on each other and race like Days of Thunder and run in the back of each other. And it finally caught up with them coming off of 4. Unfortunately, I'm not sure who was behind me, but when I let off, they didn't. And then they turned me, and I went back up in front of the track, front of the field and got collected. But it's a shame, you know. We had a good Ingersoll ran Messina Wildlife forward, but we're done, so we'll come back later in the season, and we'll see what we do. Have to save up from here on out.
All right, glad you're okay. That is Will Kimmel, and guys, he'll be making some nationwide races coming up soon.
Another look at what happened coming out of turn number 4. We saw Will Kimmel being released from the infield care center. Also, the 7 of Scotty Hubler, the 11 of Benny Gordon, the 25 of Justin Boston, the 66 of Mark Thompson, as well as the 99 of Buster Graham, all have been checked and released from the infield care center. When we come back, the green flag will fly once again at Daytona. Field back in line as they come through the trial. Green flag back in the air. Marianne Defoe in the 46 leading the field as they're having a little trouble there. The 2, Tommy Prater, struggling to get up to speed, and he drops back through the middle of this pack now as Dylan Kwasniewski working the high line.
Mariev stayed on the racetrack as well as Tommy Prater to get those front 2 spots. Now we have good lineup on the outside. Dylan Kwasniewski, the 4 car, leading that pack on the outside.
Trying to make the move on the high side as they are working by the 46 of Mariev Defoe.
Front 2 cars able to clear Mariev and move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Preferred line right down against the double yellow line. And now side-by-side racing. Frank Kimmel in the 44. Big hit by the 55 of Leilani Munter, as well as the 54 of Matt Krzyzewski. There's Matt stopped on the infield now. So the caution has come out once again. We'll try to figure out what caused this incident.
Yeah, they were running up in the top 20, right around the top 20 when that happened.
That's Leilani Munter in the 55 making her way onto pit road now. Tommy Prater was starting up front. Didn't look like he was coming up to speed like the other cars were.
I wonder if he had a transmission issue or something like that.
Yeah.
He's typically on a restart. Krzyzewski, the 54 car, was around sideways. Leilani Munter with really nowhere to go in that 55 car. Got squeezed up into the outside wall. Nice job by the 22 right there of Tyler Reddick to get by that. See Tyler Reddick going in between those 2 cars with that 22.
So a lot of damage to the right side, also to the front of the 55 of Leilani Munter. Let's go back trackside to Jim Trado.
And I'm in the garage, Rick, with Jeb Burton caught up in that first crash. A lot of things happened ahead of you. Didn't seem to get anywhere to go with this number 13 machine.
No, it's pretty disappointing. These guys work really hard. Just got to thank Mr. and Mrs. Thorson giving me the opportunity, putting me in a car and a truck. But it's a shame, man. Some of them guys don't really need to be out there, but, you know, that's part of it. But just got to thank Smoky Mountain Snuff coming on board, and State Water Heaters, Career Tank Lines, and Pacific Equipment, and Toyota, and also Rocky Ridge Trucks. So hopefully we can get a better run in the truck. I'm really disappointed with that. So looking forward to next week, definitely.
That's Jeb Burton, the number 13 machine. This car won at Talladega last year for this team with driver Frank Kimmel.
Yeah, this is where Jeb Burton got involved. He was slowing down and got tagged from the back and then hit again. So not as extensive a damage until that hit with Mark Thompson. So that's why they're working in the garage now to see if they can get him back out on the track. They work on the 55 of Leilani Munter, also on pit road. We'll come back in just a moment.
Right along with the motor hunting Ford of Grant Enfinger. Grant right now being shown in the 2nd position.
Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, last year Justin Boston had 2 bad finishes, one at Daytona and one at Talladega, another one today. What do you have to do to get a good finish here at Daytona?
You know, I really don't know what I got to do. It's just a product of the racing here, and first off, I just really got to thank everybody that's been on board and come on board our Sloop Camry over in the off season, and it's been a really good off season. And to come here and run, and ARCA set us back after setting a really good time in qualifying, and we were just back there and we were just trying to bide our time until pit stops. And I don't know what all happened up front, but all I know is I got hit by the 69 Will Kimmel, and I didn't really have anywhere to go. So it's just a product of the racing here.
All right, tough start for Justin Boston, hoping to race for the championship this year. Jim Trado?
In the midst of that caution was the 99 car, that white car that spun initially. Buster Graham, who's now out of the care center safely. Glad to see you're okay, Buster. But what kind of ride was that? What happened?
I think it was the 9 car spun me. I don't know. I can't tell from the replay, you know, if somebody got into him, but it's a shame, you know. My brakes were working. I think Grant Enfingers were working just fine. I don't know. Maybe his brakes just went out, but you know, it's too early in the race to get aggressive like that. You know, you can't win it. Yeah, I don't know how many laps we were into this thing. You know, 15 laps, and you know, he did the same thing at Road America to Ty Dillon. You know, I guess his brakes went out there too. You know, he's got a lot to learn, you know. we had a good car. It's a shame, you know, it's tore up now and our day's over. But you know, I'm all right. And, you know, I want to thank everybody for the effort. You know, the Ridley brothers gave me a good winning car, and it's a shame to go out this early in the race. We'll be back for Talladega. You know, racing. You know, nobody out there wants to wreck, and it's just one of them deals. You know, you have to have some patience in these things, and you know, I could have seen if it would have been, you know, on the last lap, last turn. You know, everybody wants to win these things, but that's not the way to do it.
A wave of emotion certainly hitting home for Buster Graham here, starting out front, running third at the time of the incident. Seems like a victim of circumstances from his point of view.
Yeah, dejection, frustration. I mean, it's incredible the emotions that these drivers, I'm sure, are going through. You fire the engines up and it's elation. And now Buster Graham sitting in the garage wondering, you know, why am I here and this race still going on?
Yeah, he knew that was an opportunity here with the Roulo brothers to have a great run. He was running up in the top 5, qualified well, and it's just, man, it's just so hard to take sometimes, something like that. You wait all winter for this opportunity to come to Daytona and race.
Get Mary Defoe staying out on the track. She's running in the 3rd spot. Dylan Kwasniewski and Grant Enfinger are 1 and 2. Chase Elliott, Mason Mitchell are your top 5. When we come back, green flag will fly. Only on Fox, green flag back in the air. Dylan Kwasniewski chooses the outside line. He wants to work with Chase Elliott, who starts this race in the 4th spot.
Grant Enfinger, that 90 car, staying right with the 4 of Kwasniewski. Dead even going in turn 1.
So right now, Grant Enfinger holding off the 4's charge. Maybe a little bit of strategy coming into play, and it might not work if Dylan Kwasniewski can't get by that 90.
Yeah, they wanted to get by both the 4 and the 9 of Chase Elliott. Wanted to get by and get in front of the 90, and then the spotters would clear them to move down the racetrack. But right now, Grant Enfinger is hanging tough.
The 2 cars working together, but you can see a big gap between the 4 and that 9 of Chase Elliott. The 4 is going to clear the 90 easy, but now will he leave the 9 hanging out there in that outside line?
Boy, Dylan Kwasniewski may be even too far ahead of this group here. You see him running side by side, 2 packs. They'll have some momentum when they get to him.
We'll see if Dylan Kwasniewski stays down on the bottom of the racetrack. If he wants to stay out front, he's going to have to when that pack catches up to him. But can Chase Elliott in the 9 make the move? He's going to have some help from the 98 of Mason Mitchell.
Right now, Mary Defoe, the 46 car, is lined up behind the 90 of Grant Enfinger.
Phil, how strong is that 4 of Dylan Kwasniewski? He's running by himself in front of this pack.
Yeah, they're going to catch him, though. There's no way to run away with this pack with these restricted engines.
Now Enfinger has some momentum. Will he go by the 4? It looks as though he's going to try. To the high side goes the 90 of Grant Enfinger. Still down on the bottom, the 4 of Dylan Kwasniewski. Enfinger's going to try to make the pass as they come into the tri-oval.
That's exactly what we talked about, having that momentum. Now Grant Enfinger has the lead and is able to pull down in front of Kwasniewski.
Chase Elliott's going to try to find a way to get down on that inside line, but right now he can't do it because he's got Dylan Kwasniewski on the inside.
Same situation for Grant Enfinger. He does not want to get too far out in front of this group.
That momentum playing such a big role here at Daytona. 2 by 2 they run behind Grant Enfinger. Enfinger trying to figure out which line to stay in front of. Into 3 and 4. Enfinger in front. Dylan Kwasniewski on the bottom of the racetrack. Mary Defoe running 3rd on that inside line.
She has Frank Kimmel, the 44 car, lined up right behind her. See that Ansel Menards, number 44, that bright yellow.
Chase Elliott leading the group on the outside line in the number 9. Dylan Kwasniewski holding on to the 2nd spot on the inside line behind Grant Enfinger.
Mary Ev's running about a half a lane up here. She needs to tighten that up a little bit, move back down the racetrack. You open up 2/3 of a lane on the inside, somebody's going to drive in that hole.
Grant Enfinger holding a pretty line on the bottom of the racetrack. Chase Elliott has now dropped back a spot. He's on the the outside of Mary Eve Defoe, and we saw Defoe go way up the racetrack, almost got into the side of Chase Elliott.
Yeah, she was a full lane up that time. What's going on with Mary Eve, Jim?
Well, the team is just telling her to stay on the inside. Do not let them go 3 wide. So she's protecting the inside line there. The car got a bit loose, but this is a very fast race car. It's a car that Frank Kimmel drove to second at Talladega in 2011. No doubt this is the best run she's had in ARCA. She's hoping to make this a full season run with this 46 team.
They were able to get Larry Clement's equipment. That's why Mary Eve Defoe is driving that 46 here at Daytona.
Remember, Mary Eve has not been to pit road yet, but she can go at least another 30 laps, probably, maybe even 35. The rule is in ARCA, though, that you have to make a pit stop by lap number 70 in this race.
Yeah, counting so far on all of the caution laps. Again, Mary Eve Defoe way up the racetrack, moving the 9 of Chase Elliott almost up to the wall.
Yeah, that's going to cause an issue. Frank Kimmel's going to take that hole on the bottom of the racetrack if Mary Eve moves up like that. Right now they have to avoid that lap car on the inside of the racetrack. And ooh, it's getting close.
That's exactly what they're doing. The pack going by that 40 of Alex Danielson. And so now they hug the double yellow line once again. Mary Eve Defoe leading the pack on the inside line. On the outside line, once again, it's Chase Elliott. Just in front of them, the 2 cars, Grant Enfinger and Dylan Kwasniewski.
Mary Eve has an easier time on the inside of the race, on the turn 1 and 2, just keeping that car on the bottom. 3 and 4, though, she's been way high.
Very slow car on the backstretch, and everyone was avoiding. They got through cleanly. Now Mary Eve Defoe still working the way up the racetrack, not staying down on that double yellow line. Now it's the 98 of Mason Mitchell on her outside.
There's a 68 of Chris Bailey Jr. lined up behind the 98 of Mason Mitchell. I think right now Frank Kimmel would love to get by Mary Eve Defoe and try to catch up with those top 4 cars.
Trying to figure out what the best line would be to get by that 46. Now Mason Mitchell on the outside of Kimmel. Tucked in behind Kimmel, the 17, Brian Silas.
Somebody's overheating. You see some steam coming out of at the base of the windshield on one of these cars.
Clay Campbell in the 52.
Oh, they're getting close here.
Tightened up once again as they come out of turn number 4, heading for the tri-oval. Ray Dunlap.
Guys, looking at that number 68 car, Chris Bailey Jr. is from South Park, Pennsylvania, and in 2010 he won the ARCA Truck Series Championship, but this is the biggest race of his life today. You know how he got his start in racing? He had a huge Beanie Baby collection, and he took it to auction, sold it all, and bought his first go-kart. What a way to get started.
Yeah, and you mentioned that steam. Terry Jones in the 32 is having a lot of steam coming out at the base of the windshield. Overheating for the 32. That problem could cause issues for the guys behind him, especially as the sun is so difficult to see, or the sun is so difficult when they come out of turn number 4. Add some fluid to your windshield if you're behind Terry Jones, and it makes it even worse.
Certainly does. See, that's another one of the cars out of the Wintron stable, teammate to Frank Kimmel in the 44. That thing will eventually push all the water out, and then the gauge is not going to read hot anymore. Right. It's going to be reading air.
How about a battle for the lead? Dylan Kwasniewski works the high side, able to get by Grant Enfinger. Now it's Dylan Kwasniewski back in front of the field here at Daytona.
Chase Elliott, that 9 car falls into the 3rd spot. Mary Eve still holds on to that 4th spot in the 46 car.
Still, you see the steam flying as they go down the backstretch, coming out of the 32 of Terry Jones. Kwasniewski in front. Grant Enfinger running 2nd. Chase Elliott 3rd. Mary Eve Defoe is 4th. Frank Kimmel running in the 5th spot. Kimmel has finished 2nd in this race twice before. Never has he been to victory lane at Daytona.
Terry Jones, that 32 car, needs to pull out a line a little bit. Let that car get some air, see if he can cool it off a little bit.
2 by 2, they continue to work around Daytona International Speedway. Back in front of the field, it's Dylan Kwasniewski in the Lucas Oil 200.
Better buckle up for that one Friday night.
We heard Jeff Burton talking about the opportunity that ThorSport has given him to not only run here in the ARCA Racing Series, but also in the Camping World Truck Series.
They've got underneath Mary Ev now. You see her on the outside. She's the leader of that outside line in that 46 car. See Frank down on the inside here going around another lap car. Everybody has to move up the racetrack to give that 33 car some room.
Looks as though they've been able to negotiate past that slower lap car. And so now the pack 2x2 with Kimmel leading the inside line, Mary-Eve Defoe leading the outside line. That's the pack. There's 3 cars in front of them. Dylan Kwasniewski, Grant Infinger, and Chase Elliott running single file.
We've got about 18 cars right now in this lead pack.
We've seen movement on the outside line. It hasn't been dramatic, but we've also haven't seen them fighting for positions too much, like right now. Grant Infinger goes to take the position away from Dylan Kwasniewski, and he will do it.
He had an incredible run on the outside. It almost looked like the 4 of Dylan Kwasniewski slowed for some reason. Now he's going to line up behind Grant Infinger with Chase Elliott, the 9 car, the black and white car right behind him.
And before this race even started, we were talking with Dylan Kwasniewski, and he mentioned he wanted to be able to work with Chase Elliott in that 9. That was the plan on the restart. The most recent restart is to work with that 9. Now it's the first time that they have been nose to tail, the 2 of them, but they're in 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, both engines come out of the Hendrick Motorsports stable. The 9 cars fielded out of Hendrick Motorsports, and ironically, they actually ARCA changed the rules a little bit and gave an older SP2 Chevrolet engine a little bit bigger restrictor plate, and Hendrick Motorsports felt like that would be an advantage. They went to the warehouse to get the old SP2 engines, and that's what's in the 4 car right now, and the 9 of Chase Elliott, as they all have to go around the 55 of Leilani Munter again.
Yeah, the slower lap traffic causing a little bit of issue as far as timing when they reach those cars that are not quite up to speed.
Got Mary-Eve Defoe in that 46 car doing a nice job of hanging in there up in the top 5 right now.
It looked as though that 46 car wanted to run the higher line, kept moving up the racetrack. Now she's on that outside line. We'll see if that helps that car at all.
Saw a little bit of debris there as they exited turn 4 right up against the wall, about 3 or 4 feet from the wall. Not sure exactly what that was.
And you had mentioned the 33 of Cody Weisner that was running a little bit slower off the pace. What's happening with that team, right?
Well, I wanted to give you a quick update, Rick, because I know Austin Dillon's a Camping World Truck Series champion, and I know he's a nationwide champion, but crew chief, what's that all about?
I don't really know. It's kind of fun, though, hanging out with Dad, spotting up there, and got to thank UNOH. They do a lot for kids learning how to get into this business, and all these guys working on are students, so it's very cool, and we're working hard. Hopefully we get a caution to fix the front end up.
All right, good luck to you. They're having a little bit of trouble with that race car, but Austin Dillon on the box helping out.
And the steam still coming out of the 32 of Terry Jones. He gets out of line and goes down to the apron area, lets the pack go by. We're hearing that 32 of Terry Jones will be making his way onto pit road.
I think he just stayed out there too long and pushed too much water out of that car.
So still out front, it's Grant Infinger, Dylan Kwasniewski, and Chase Elliott running 2 and 3. Then the pack is just behind them. Mary-Eve Defoe on the outside, Frank Kimmel on the inside. Looks like Mary-Eve Defoe is going to get a little bit of a push there from the 98 of Mason Mitchell. See if that will make that outside line move just a little bit quicker.
We have that red number 17 of Brian Silas now lined up behind Frank Kimmel. There's that little bit of debris I was talking about. ARC officials looking at that, and I think thinking nothing to be worried about.
Out of the line, out of the racing line, the groove.
I'm not sure anything's out of the racing groove here at Daytona.
That's a good point. Grant Infinger still holding out of the top spot. Dylan Kwasniewski running second. About a car length in between Kwasniewski and then Chase Elliott in the 9. That gap is closing as they once again are going by the slower lap traffic. This time it's Tim Vines in the 97 that they're getting by.
See Tim staying right over by the yellow line, giving those lead lap cars as much room as he can.
This pack clicking off laps about 48.5 seconds. Over 180 miles an hour is what we're traveling at here at Daytona.
Right now these guys have stayed. There's John West Townley right there, our winner from last year. You know, we talk about the Venturinis and how strong they are. They got their first win here with John West last year. 3 of their 4 cars already taken out in accidents here. John West is the only car remaining in contention for this win.
And John West Townley running for a championship in 2014 and would like to defend his win. He's got 8-time winner Bobby Gerhardt in the 5 moving up to the outside. Gerhardt's going to make it 3 wide now as he goes on the high side, getting by that 98 of Mason Mitchell.
It looks like Bobby still has a fast car even after that incident earlier with the outside wall. Billy Gerhardt, his brother and crew chief, brought him in. They got some tire clearance. Back up in here in contention.
Now Mary-Eve Defoe in the 46 trying to decide what line she will choose. The center line or that outside line. Out in front of the field though, it's Grant Enfinger. How about this guy? Ryan Newman fishing at Lake Lloyd. "52 laps complete of the Lucas Oil 200. In front of the field, it's Grant Enfinger. Chase Elliott now running second, dropping all the way back to 7th is Dylan Kwasniewski. He's been hung out to dry on the outside line, and that car's not strong enough to run against the pack on the inside.
It's an awfully strong car there, but when he got by himself, he had no help, and he started drifting back. Now he's racing with Chris Bailey Jr. He would love to get back up there in line, but I think he's going to lose some more spots. They're lined up on the inside.
A lot of these drivers trying to gain some experience, get approved so that they can run the nationwide race next weekend. And they're learning valuable experience right now. Chase Elliott had an opportunity to get in behind the 4 of Dylan Kwasniewski and work together. He chose to stay on the inside line and stay behind Grant Enfinger. And what has happened now is his friend and teammates back there running at about the 10th spot.
Look at this momentum that Grant Enfinger has had. A little bit of a push from Chase Elliott. Went to the outside. Dylan Kwasniewski moved up the racetrack to block that move, and Grant just turned left and drove by him on the inside.
Right there was an opportunity for Chase to get back behind the 4. The 2 could have worked together. He chose that inside line. It seems like the safe line is to stay on the inside.
Oh, without a doubt. We see what happens when you get hung out on the outside. Like right now, Dylan Kwasniewski. He's on the outside of the 22 of Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick is another one of those drivers trying to get approved to run the Camping World Truck Series for Brad Keselowski next week.
Inside of 26 laps remaining. The Lucas Oil 200. Grant Enfinger has been out front a few times. Dylan Kwasniewski looked to be the strongest car. Mary-Eve Defoe has been in front of this field.
You see the last lap speed by Grant Enfinger, 2.5 miles an hour faster than the pole speed. How about Clay Campbell? What a great job he's doing in Kenny Schrader's Federated Auto Parts Chevrolet. And you know what his day job is, right?
Wait a second. He's not a driver. He's a president of a track.
Well, that's his day job. That's his day job. He's doing a great job here. Clay's supposed to run here as well as Talladega. We've seen him run some K&N East races in the past and doing a super job here. Ran Talladega last year.
And Clay Campbell is the president of Martinsville Speedway. Right now, Clay Campbell very strong in the top 5 here at Daytona. So it's Enfinger, Chase Elliott, Frank Kimmel, all the way up to the 3rd spot now. Brian Silas running 4th. Clay Campbell is 5th. John West Townley a year ago went to victory lane, now running in the 6th spot in this race.
We have a bit of a line forming out on the outside. That may be the only opportunity these guys have to chase down these cars on the inside line.
After issues early, Bobby Gerhardt's made it back up into the top 10, looking for his 9th win here at Daytona. Closing in on the final 20 laps from Daytona International Speedway. The Lucas Oil 200 continues with Grant Enfinger out in front. Grant started 2nd in this race, has been able to hold on to one of the top 2 spots. Chase Elliott running in 2nd now. Frank Kimmel is 3rd. Brian Silas and Clay Campbell rounding out your top 5.
We have about a 9-car breakaway. Then it's about 4 or 5 car lengths back to the next back. You see Mason Mitchell, the 98, moves to the outside with Kwasniewski, trying to get something going, trying to get a little bit of momentum to try to make a run at these cars on the inside.
Get a feel for the possibility of being able to battle that inside line. Mason Mitchell moved out there, and then no one else wanted to go with him. Dylan Kwasniewski tucked back in behind the inside line, and that will shuffle that 98 back to the back of this small pack.
4 of Dylan Kwasniewski now lined up behind the 77 of Tom Hesser.
A lot of experience out of Tom Hesser.
Yep, certainly is.
Multiple-time winner here in the ARCA Racing Series.
Grant Enfinger got the victory lane we mentioned earlier twice last year. One in his home state of Mobile, Alabama, and then followed it up with a win in Iowa.
That was a huge win for Grant when he was able to win in Mobile.
Or what would it mean to win a race here at Daytona for Grant Enfinger? Or anyone
any
else
driver.
in this field, absolutely.
You've mentioned it many times. This would be the pinnacle of facilities to be able to win at. And Grant Enfinger in front of the field now. Chase Elliott, his father, won at this racetrack 11 times. 2 times a Daytona 500 winner, 2 times a 400 winner.
I remember one of those wins in the 400. He started in the 38th position, qualified 38th, and Rick Wilson pushed him to victory in that 400-mile race.
Brian Silas running back in the 4th spot. At 17, we see Brian Silas quite a bit in the Camping World Truck Series.
Clay Campbell we see quite often at Martinsville Speedway
as the president. But as you mentioned, Clay doing a little bit of racing now in the K&N Pro Series, as well as a few ARCA races. He's run so close there was Leilani Moser in the 55 as far as the pack going by. But we've seen Clay Campbell run at Talladega and now at Daytona twice here in the ARCA Racing Series. John West Townley a year ago got his first win in the ARCA Racing Series right here at Daytona. Now he's tucked into the 6th spot, and just behind him is Tom Hessert in that 77.
Yeah, John West had a breakout season last year. Won this race down here. Really did a nice job in the truck series, driving for Red Horse Racing. Mike Beam, the steady influence on top of the pit box, calling the shots. They've actually moved over to Richie Waters' team for this season in the Camping World Truck Series. Mike went with him, so look for good things out of John West Townley in the truck series.
One of the fastest cars, started on the pole. Dylan Kwasniewski, one of the strongest cars as well, but here a couple laps ago got hung on the outside and wasn't able to maintain his position, dropped all the way back out of the top 5 into the 8th position now where he resides.
Would love to have some help, would love to get a strong car to pull up behind him so they could move to the outside. It's going to be hard to make any ground up in the inside with all the cars in front of him hugging that double yellow line.
Mason Mitchell still running in the 9th position, and just behind him the 5 of Bobby Gerhart. Bobby Gerhart early in this race, within the first few laps, got into the outside wall, did some damage to the right side of that car, waited until the big accident took place, came to pit road, they worked on it. He's back up into the top 10 and fighting for his 9th win at this racetrack.
Yeah, it's obvious that Bobby has a little bit of damage to that car, and it may be affecting that car. And I would have said definitely affecting it until I saw Kyle Busch win the Sprint Unlimited
right.
with a destroyed race car, it seemed like.
You can win from anywhere at Daytona International Speedway. Still out front, Grant Enfinger.
Oh, got a caution on the racetrack.
Caution in turn 2. It looks as though the field will begin to slow down now. 33, we saw problems for Cody Weisner earlier. His crew chief Austin Dillon in the pit box was hoping that a caution would come out. They could work on the front end of that car. Obviously some issues with the 33 has sent him into the infield.
Looks like the left rear tire is down for sure on that car. It's going to set up a shootout style double file restart. Remember, for the first time in ARCA.
Yep.
We have restarts like we're used to seeing in the top 3 divisions of NASCAR.
And Ron Drager, the president of ARCA, mentioned that this is really a feeder series for the top 3 series of NASCAR. As we take a look at what happened coming in the upper right of your screen, you already see the 33 of Weisner's sideways. But Ron Drager wanted these drivers to experience the same things that they're going to be able to experience when they move on to the Camping World Truck Series or the Nationwide Series or the Sprint Cup Series, and that includes restarts that are double file. So we'll get to experience that once again. An interliner on the inside of these tires as well.
Just outside of 10 laps to go. We have 13 laps to go right now. I think everybody's in their fuel window. Most of the field pitted about lap 20, so they all felt like they could go at least 60 laps. If we went straight green, these few caution laps are going to help their fuel mileage. Again, you have to obviously think about green, white checker finishes too, and ARCA will do multiple green, white checker finishes if that's what it takes to get this thing to finish under green.
Stopped on the track, Jared Marks in the 12. During the free pass is going to go to Ed Pompa in the 06.
One thing we didn't talk about is the fact that Mary-Eve Defoe did go ahead and make her pit stop. Unfortunately, under green, lost a lap, and she's not in position to get the free pass, so it's going to go to Ed Pompa.
So while they reset the field, we'll take a quick break, closing in on the final 10 laps here at Daytona. Welcome back. Grant Enfinger and that Motor Honey number 90 out in front of the field and closing in on the final 10 laps from Daytona International Speedway.
See Grant Enfinger right now, our leader. Let's see if we can chat with him. Hey, Grant Enfinger, Phil Parsons up in the Fox booth. You have a copy?
Got you loud and clear, Phil.
All right, buddy, this for the first time, ARCA is going to have the double file restarts just like they do in NASCAR. Were you kind of hoping this thing went green the rest of the way?
It looked like we were in pretty good position if it did, but I had a feeling we were going to have a late race caution, but it's part of the game.
You've got Frank Kimmel right now running third and Brian Silas fourth. You going to pick the inside or the outside, Grant?
That's a good question, Phil. So I just know everybody at Team BCR has given me one heck of a race car. Got a really, really good car. So thanks to K-Site, Motor Honey, Advanced Auto Parts, Worth USA, everybody that's made this possible. Got to give a shout out to everybody at my place in Fairhope, Alabama tonight. Think they're watching and having a good time.
Grant, we know you got to victory lane a couple times last year in the ARCA Racing Series. What would it mean to get to victory lane here at Daytona?
Well, you know, Phil, we had a lot of heartbreakers coming into the Mobile win last year. I think it owes us a few more, and I'll take this one as a consolation prize.
All right, buddy, finish it off.
Thank you.
How about Grant dodging your question of which line he was going to choose?
He said it was a good question.
Yeah. Which line are you going to take? Well, that's a good question. And then he moved right on. I'm guessing he will try the inside line and have Frank Kimmel behind him, but that's just a guess. Let's go back to Jim Trado.
It's all about learning here in the ARCA Racing Series. We know Dylan Kwasniewski, who started on the pole, led a ton of laps early, got shuffled out and was not able to find his own way back down. There was an opportunity, and I could tell the frustration on his crew chief Pat Tryson's face and the radio discussion with spotter Eddie DeHaan about getting that opportunity to make room to get to the inside, and Dylan was not able to do that. So they're sitting here in the 8th position now. Kwasniewski just his second ARCA start. Last fall at Kansas was his biggest track ever. Now here today, he's trying to get approved for the nationwide race. But Kwasniewski, listening closely, sounds like he may stay on the inside line here and move along with someone else rather than stay outside and get stranded like he did earlier. Ray?
And Jim, that is a brand new car Kwasniewski's driving, but this is also a Turner Scott Motorsports car behind number 9. That is Chase Elliott, and Chase saying on the radio, boy, I wish that 4 could get up here, because I know that if he and I were together, we definitely have what it takes to win this race. Chase Elliott will be to the high side here. Everybody's good on fuel. They're getting ready to go. And Bill Elliott, his father, is on the roof. But so far, guys, I haven't heard one single word on the radio.
I wonder if that's a good thing when your dad doesn't say anything. Fox. Smoke coming out of the 06 of Ed Pompa. Ed was able to get the free pass earlier, and now Ed wants out of that car as quickly as he can. You see him dropping the window net. Smoke continuing to roll out from underneath the hood.
I think that's going to delay our restart here. He's right off the racetrack at the entrance to turn 1.
Dropped the window net right away. Looked like he was going to try to climb out, but now it looks as though he's trying to refire the engine.
Yeah, you can see his left hand trying to flip some switches and put it in gear. Maybe he's going to drive it back.
So while the smoke rolls out from underneath the 06, we'll take a quick break. Be right back to Daytona. Sun setting on Daytona International Speedway. Fans are able to enjoy from high atop some of the campers here in the infield as the 06 of Ed Pompa gets pulled into the infield. Coming off of turn number 4, you see the smoke starting to roll from underneath the 06 of Ed Pompa. And then after he went through the tri-oval, I think he decided that something was definitely wrong with that car, and he spins just before he gets to the grass past pit road exit.
Yeah, the reason he was going so fast is he was a free pass. They released him when they came by the start finish line the lap before, so he was trying to catch up to the field. Then unfortunately the motor went away.
So they've pulled that behind the wall into the infield area. There's a beautiful shot of Lake Lloyd.
So Ryan Newman catch some fish there earlier.
Right. You know, Ryan Newman won this race back in 2001. That was the last time Ford has won a race here at Daytona. Frank Kimmel looking for his first Daytona win.
Grant Enfinger wouldn't give us an answer, but he did choose the inside. Now he has Frank Kimmel, 10-time champion, lined up behind him. But a very strong Chevrolet on the outside, Chase Elliott.
What an incredible resume this is for Frank Kimmel. 10 times the series champion. Passed Iggy Katona for the most wins of all time in the series. Now has 80 with the last race we ran, that win back at Kansas.
You see that 354 top 10 finishes? That's 75% of the starts he's made in the ARCA series. He's finishing in the top 10.
That's formidable.
That's pretty good.
Jim Trado.
Real quick, guys. Frank Kimmel, this Menards, Ansel Toyota. He said the car is great. I'm not coming in. This thing is perfect. He couldn't believe how good the car is running right now as they come up to speed. Just so you know, this is a proven race car. This is the car Kyle Larson drove to second place last year, and the car that Brandon McReynolds crossed the finish line with first at Talladega 2 years ago. So this car is indeed a proven race car, although Frank didn't see it for the first time until Thursday. But man, is he running strong now in his first ever attempt to win here at Daytona.
Guys working together will be Grant Enfinger on the inside with Frank Kimmel just behind him. Chase Elliott will be on the outside with Brian Silas behind him as they come back into the tri-oval. 7 laps of racing to go. Green flag back in the air.
See, John West Townley moved to the outside before he got to the start finish line. He was alongside Brian Silas at the start finish line, and he's going to go ahead and complete that pass. ARCA officials will have to look at that. Maybe he'll back off now and get in behind the 17, but it's going to cost him a lot of space.
And that inside line is the one that's moving now. Chase Elliott in the 9 dropping back on the outside. John West Townley will come up behind the 9, but they've already lost about 8 spots as they fall back behind that inside line, working well behind Grant Enfinger. Enfinger, Frank Kimmel, 1 and 2. Right behind them, Clay Campbell in the 52, running 3rd.
In the ARCA series, once the green flag is out, as long as you pass to the outside, it's okay. We've got 3 really strong cars lined up on the outside now with Chase Elliott, John West Townley, and Dylan Kwasniewski, but they're not really gaining on that inside line.
And not a lot of laps remaining, just 6 to go here at Daytona.
This is John West's Zaxby's Toyota right here, lined up behind that 9 of Chase Elliott. You see Chase pull over to try to side draft a little bit off that 22, that black car of Tyler Reddick.
4 cars now line up on that outside line, trying to get some momentum. Working their way through 3 and 4 once again. The pack coming off of turn number 4. Enfinger in front of Frank Kimmel, Clay Campbell, Tom Hessert, and Bobby Gerhart, your top 5.
How did Bobby Gerhart make his way back up in the top 5?
He seems to do it every time we come here to Daytona. A little bit of damage to the right side of that 5. That happened within the first 5 laps of this race, but he's been able to stick to it.
So right behind the 17 of Brian Silas, we saw the 48. You see him right there. That's Sean Corr in James Hilton's car. We haven't talked a lot about Sean Corr. James Hilton made his farewell run last year, retired as a driver. Here he is right here with a chance to win this race with Sean Corr.
Sean Corr in the top 10, running in the 7th spot. Inside of 5 laps of racing remaining. The field making their way through 3 and 4 once again. The outside line trying to work together. The 9 of Chase Elliott in front of John West Townley and Dylan Kwasniewski. Not making up a lot of ground though. 4 laps of racing to go. Enfinger, Kimmel, Campbell, Hessert, and Gerhardt, your top 5.
Remember, we were talking at the top of the show how Chase Elliott, Dylan Kwasniewski both were here with a different agenda. They were here to win the race, certainly, but to get some experience and get approved to run the nationwide race next week. I think they've done enough to get approved. John West Townley will be in our Camping World Truck Series race next week.
John West Townley running for the championship, not only in the ARCA Racing Series, but also going to run the full-time in the Camping World Truck Series as well. Riding along with the 98 of Mason Mitchell.
See some steam coming out at the base of the windshield of that 98 car. But coming down for 3 laps to go here. You're not looking at the water temperature gauge anymore.
Right now, Grant Enfinger wanting this to stay green. 3 laps of racing to go. Enfinger in front. There's the steam still coming out at the base of the windshield. Can it hang on for 3 more laps? Enfinger, Kimmel, oh so close. He's finished second here twice before. Running in the second spot now again tonight.
22 starts here at Daytona. Second's his best.
Clay Campbell trying to have a career best finish in the ARCA Racing Series tonight. He's run just on the super speedways. His best finish was 14th a year ago here. Now running in the 3rd spot.
Tom Hessert doing a nice job, has made his way up into the top 5 right now, running 4th in front of Bobby Gerhardt.
5 more miles remain. 2 laps at Daytona.
Brian Silas, the 17, jumps outside, side by side with the 5 of Gerhardt.
Gerhardt able to make the move by, as well as Sean Core. Now that 17 begins to drop back.
It's hard to have the patience, Rick, to stay in line there. You know, I can't win this race from 5th or 7th or whatever. Brian Silas jumped out of line. It's going to cost him.
That outside line not moving quickly, but they're a very aggressive move. Getting out of line.
It was Derek Lancaster, the 56 car.
Lancaster able to hang on to it. This time by. White flag will go in the air. Coming into the trioval, Grant Enfinger sees the white flag. One more time around at Daytona.
Remember, the ARCA Racing Series will finish under green. In NASCAR, once you see the white flag, the next flag finishes it. If this race were to go under caution right now, we would have a green-white checker.
All right, Phil, you only have a couple seconds, but tell me your strategy if you're Frank Kimmel. Do you try to move out of line and see if Clay Campbell will go with you?
You wait till the last second, I think. You see right now Grant Enfinger right on the bottom of the racetrack. Look at Bobby Gerhardt go out. If he sees cars coming on the outside with a run, he may pull out to get that push.
That's exactly what Bobby Gerhardt has done. He's got that run. He's on the outside. The momentum stalls a bit, though, as they go through 3 and 4. He's on the outside of Tommy Hessert, battling for the 4th spot. Coming out of turn number 4, Grant Enfinger. Just a few hundred yards to go. Enfinger looking for his first win at Daytona. Enfinger's going to win it here.
I think Grant's probably speechless right now.
Grant Enfinger gets his 3rd career win in the ARCA Racing Series, and it comes at no bigger stage.
Frank Kimmel's 3rd second-place finish here. What an outstanding job, though, by Grant Enfinger. We talked to him a few moments ago. He felt like that he's had some good shots at winning on the speedways, getting away, but he's got her here. You look at him shake his fist.
37 different drivers have won in the ARCA Racing Series here at Daytona. This is the 51st race. And remember, Bobby Gerhardt has 8 wins with just 1 driver, so it's very rare for these drivers to be able to go back-to-back or even repeat win at Daytona. And now Grant Enfinger becomes the 37th different driver to win at Daytona in the ARCA Racing Series. Let's hear from the winning owner, standing by with Ray Dunlap.
And guys, that would be Howard Bixman, and you're a winner at Daytona. What's that mean?
Oh, it means a lot to us. We work real hard every day, and this is for my dad. He went in the hospital yesterday.
Congratulations, Howard Bixman with a big win for Grant Enfinger.
How about the emotion there?
Making his way to victory lane. What a huge win for that team, that young man.
What a nice young man, too. We talked to him right after practice today, and I think we have a good car. I think we have a shot at it. And boy, did he.
Really a breakout season in 2013. He was able to get the win at Mobile, which is the second race of the season in the ARCA Racing Series. Went on to get another win at Iowa in 2013. Seemed like things were really clicking for that team, and now he comes out to start 2014 with a win here at Daytona.
Was only able to make 9 starts last year, and he made the best of those. And again, as we talked to him this morning and said, you're going to be able to run full time, he said, well, we're really not sure. Howard thinks we have enough funding to run a lot, but not sure about full time.
Mentioned the last time that Ford had won here at Daytona was back in 2001 with Ryan Newman. Well, it's happened again. It's Ford's 11th win here at Daytona. It comes at the hands of Grant Enfinger. Grant's going to climb out and grab that checkered flag, and I'm sure begin his celebration, which will probably carry on for quite some time.
Oh, we have some great stories up in the top 5 and top 10. Obviously, the win for Grant Enfinger. Clay Campbell with his career best. The president of Martinsville Speedway finishing 3rd in Kenny Schrader's car. Tom Hessert with a great top 5. Tyler Reddick moving to the Truck Series to run for Brad Keselowski. He gets a top 5 finish. And Bobby Gerhart, after early damage, recovers to finish in the 6th spot.
Yeah, extremely impressive. The unofficial results rolling on the side of your screen. Mason Mitchell finishes in the top 10. Terry Jones, who we thought was going to blow up. The steam rolling out from the base of the windshield for so many laps toward the end of this, able to hold on to a top 10 spot.
Chase Elliott gets the valuable experience, finishes with a top 10 finish in the 9th spot.
One more time, Frank Kimmel has come home in the 2nd position. Let's hear from him. He was with Jim.
And Rick, for the 9th time in the top 5 here at Daytona, Frank, in all those starts, you've had some good cars, you've had some good luck. This car seemed to have a bit of both for you today.
Yeah, you know, we overachieved a lot today. I think the guys worked so hard, but we just didn't have a lot of speed with the car when we needed it. And I got on that black line, and I was trying to back up to Clay to try to get some kind of run at Grant, but he was really strong. And ARCA's got to do some of these engine rules. That restrictor plate they got is really hurting us. But got to thank the Ansel guys and Menards. Another great race car, and great for Wintron to come out and we start the year with a 2nd.
And what about that new baby in the ownership group here, Nate Teesey, a new dad today? That's a gift.
Yeah, we may have to tell Nate just to stay home for a while, but no, congratulations to him and his wife. And a little bit of a struggle, I think, having the baby. So I'm just glad everything worked out so good. And hey, I got to say to my oldest brother Tom, his wife Kathy's been battling cancer really hard, and you know, my heart and all our prayers go out to her, and hope she can pull through that. And a good friend of mine from high school just passed away, Scott Bostock, great kid, just had brain cancer, my age, so kind of sad, but hopefully it's brought a smile to everybody's face. We appreciate it.
Keeping things in perspective, Frank Kimmel finishes 2nd here at Daytona, but again, he's eyeing another championship here. He's already won 10 of those.
Yeah, what a start for his run at championship number 11. A 2nd place finish at Daytona International Speedway. The celebration will continue, and we'll be in victory lane when we come back. Grant Enfinger will be there for the first time in his young career. And a very impressive career high for Clay Campbell, who's standing by with Jim Trado.
Finishing 3rd here, Rick, in the Federated Auto Parts Chevy. You talked about Talladega being the next race on the calendar, but I already saw your smile come up in October when I saw you in Martinsville Speedway. Said, I think I got something good for Daytona.
Yeah, that's when Kenny and I talked and put this deal together. So, yeah, I was happy in October, and, you know, I couldn't be happier with being able to drive the Federated Auto Parts Chevrolet for Kenny Schrader. I mean, this is an icon, and for me to drive this car and finish this well, tickled to death. These guys, they put their heart and soul into it. For somebody like me, it means a lot to me. You know, we were lucky enough to get through some of the skirmishes, and that's what you got to do here. You got to finish it. You got to be there at the end to have a shot, and we did that. So I'm tickled to death with it.
You told me you're only going to run Talladega, so that means there's room on the schedule in Martinsville for an ARCA race, right?
I got a day job there.
Hey, great run.
Thank you a lot.
That's Clay Campbell finishing 3rd, Ray.
Climbing out of the car from Fairhope, Alabama. A 3-time winner now in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Grant Enfinger, how about a win at Daytona? How's that feel?
I tell you what, this is pretty special. I was telling Phil earlier, man, I feel like we're owed a few here. You know, it was so heartbreaking a few years ago to lose some really close ones. So to get this, Iowa, Mobile last year, just means the world to me. So I can't appreciate everybody at Team BCR, Roush Yates for giving us great motors, Advanced Auto Parts, Worth USA. I tell you what, we got some great sponsors. We got some great partners. Stanley Industries comes on board. I tell you what, it doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah, you said your friends at my place might be rooting you on. Guess what? They have 19 more chances to do it this year.
Yeah. You know, I think we're going to be running for this thing. I really feel strong about this team. Everybody's really worked hard. You know, we're on limited resources. A little shop that Howard Bixman owns in Mooresville, but man, we're like the little engine that could. We got a lot of heart.
What was the secret to getting the victory today?
Track position. You know that we, dumb luck, I guess. Some sort of it is why we qualified second. You know, we really qualified fifth. There was a few issues in tech with some of those guys, and that good track position won us this race. You know, I think it was us, the 4 car, the 9 car. Those guys were really, really strong, but we had the track position at the end.
Guess what? You're in victory lane. Enjoy it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ray.
All right. Grant Enfinger, winner today here at Daytona. Jim?
I'm with a couple of drivers from Cunningham Motorsports. Tyler Reddick has tested at tracks like this, but this young man just turned 18, about a month ago, to get his chance to race here at Daytona. He's finished 1 spot behind his teammate Tom Hessert. These guys in the 77 and 22 had it going on. I'm going to start with you, Tommy. 7th Daytona start, best finish. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, our Axiom carrier car was pretty good in the beginning. We had some really good track position, but then water temp got really hot. We had to bail out a line there and go to the back to try to get the thing some cool air. Once we got it cooled off, made a couple good pit stops, got the thing filled with fuel, and nobody could go to the end. A little frustrating there at the end once we got up in the first 7 or 8 cars because everyone kind of stayed in line. The restart helped us though. We got a couple spots. That's part of the deal with the double file restarts. You know, it this time worked for us. Hopefully it does next time too. But Tyler gave me a good shove off of 4 to make sure we finished in 4th. So it was a good day for everyone at Cunningham.
You raced a lot with the 52 of Clay Cunningham. That crew chief, Clay Campbell, that crew chief is a guy you know well because you raced for that team. But the owner came over, Kenny Schrader came over and said a few words after about how close you guys are racing on the track. Anything you want to share with us?
We've both been...
Yeah, Kenny said he knew we were safe because if I wrecked the 52, he'd kill me.
Same here, because I've been in that car too many times, and we both race in Kenny's car a lot, so it's pretty good to run up there with them and give them a shove to the finish.
Tyler Reddick, you really made a charge, though, passing Bobby Guerra on that final circuit. Take us through your first run here at Daytona into the top 5.
Well, our main goal is to run the first 40 laps without getting wrecked. We want to make it to the truck race. We want to get approved. Once that happened, we just bid our time and tried to get to the front. We were up to about 8th, and I made a mistake early on getting behind some slow cars. Got shuffled back to the end of the pack we had going, and had to work my way back up. We got to 5th. I got a good shove on the end, on that dog leg there, and gave it to Com, and came home in 5th. Got by Gerhardt, so a good run for us. Good first-time run.
Great run for Tyler Reddick, the Scott Rookie of the race here at Daytona. A solid run to 5th in the 22 car, guys.
Thanks.
As the sun begins to set here, what a great ride. And the owner decides, I'd like a ride to victory lane here at Daytona. After that, celebration's going to continue in victory lane. Let's hear from another one who had a pretty impressive finish, standing by with Ray Dunlap.
It was a good day today for Chase Elliott. I'm curious, I listened to your radio a lot today. It sounded like you had a good time, but tell me about what you learned today at Daytona.
Yeah, just a completely different type of racing really than what I've always been used to. It's just you're so dependent upon the guy behind you. It's hard to make a move, you know, and you just have to have help, and it's just hard to go anywhere. But just one thing, HendrickCars.com, Napa, everybody that support us, Napa Brakes as well coming on board this weekend. So I hate we couldn't get a better finish for them. I thought we had a really good shot to get the win there that last restart, but didn't have any help there once we got going. So we'll look forward to the race next week now.
You were 2nd or 3rd, and I heard you on the radio say, I'm leaving a space to let the 4, Dylan Kwasniewski, in, and it didn't work out. But if it had, do you think you 2 cars could have worked together to win?
I think so. At least I feel like I at least could have pushed him to the win. There was a time earlier in the race where I pushed him past the 90, and he got completely clear of him. And I felt like we could at least do that again, you know, and get a Hendrick Motorsports engine in victory lane to, you know, at least. So I tried to give him a lane there. It's just so hard to relay by the time I do it, you know, and then tell Earl, and then by the time he tells his spotter and tells Dylan, it's almost too late. So unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Have you had a chance to see the replay with you in the 99?
Yeah, I just saw it a minute ago, and I mean, it was really, really close. But again, as I said a lot, I never touched him. It was just an air thing, best I can tell. And I've watched it a few times now, and there's really not a good angle right here. But I know it was close, but I didn't hit his bumper, so I'm not concerned about it.
Okay, glad you had a good day. That's Chase Elliott. Now let's hear from another one of the youngsters standing by with Jim Trado.
Certainly had a fast car today. Led from the pole position for Dylan Kwasniewski here. And Dylan, I've got to ask you about that number 4 Chevrolet. Your teammate of sorts under the Turner Scott Motorsports banner today was Chase Elliott. He just talked about trying to work with you. Take us through your day and working with him and trying to get that draft back on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he was a great partner. You know, we were trying to get up there, but it's tough when you get hung up there and you're just trying to work with a couple cars. It's hard to get up there, but we were trying, most definitely. Turner Scott Motorsports gave me a great car, obviously, and you know, we just couldn't get there. We got hung out to dry, and I was trying to side drive to get back there, but should have filled the hole. My spotter called me clean, and you know, should have went down there.
Now, when it comes to this race, what did you learn? I heard your spotter, Eddie DeHaan, a lot on the radio. Pat Trison has a lot of experience under his belt. He was your crew chief today and will be all season in Nationwide. But take us through what maybe you learned today. As we heard from Chase a moment ago, what did you learn that will help you going forward?
You know, definitely listen to your spotter a lot. Obviously, Eddie knows a ton about these cars. He called me clear. I should have went down there. You know, by the time I looked in my mirror and thought about it, it was too late after that. So kind of bummed about that. You know, I think we had definitely a race-winning car. Me and Chase were working well together. So, you know, it's a bummer, but learned a ton. I mean, that's what we had to get out of this. Definitely take what we learned in this going into a nationwide race, and hopefully me and Chase get to dice up a little bit too and try to get up there in the pack.
How big of a deal is this for you to get to race here at Daytona? I saw you the other night after you won the pole. You said, this is pretty cool to be 18 and on the pole. How'd your day play out for you? Is it what you expected, except for the victory?
Yeah, I mean, you always want a victory, but the thing I wanted to do is learn a lot, and that's what we did. You know, learned a lot about the draft. If you get hung out there, you know how to kind of stay with them. So it was really fun. I mean, at least we got to race. It wasn't single file. So, you know, I had a blast. A little bit bummed out, but hey, you know, you got to take what you learned in the next weekend, and hopefully we'll have a good piece there too.
We wish you well. The thoughts of Dylan Kwasniewski again, leading from the pole, leading a number of laps here, but getting shuffled out. And as he just told you guys, he learned a ton today in the Lucas Oil 200.
Very talented young man, Dylan Kwasniewski. The celebration continues for Grant Enfinger. He won at Mobile a year ago, and now he's at Victory Lane at Daytona. Welcome back. Coming up next, it's NASCAR Race Day as they get ready for the Sprint Unlimited, which will take place right here on Fox Sports 1. And that really kicking off Speed Weeks today. Grant Enfinger grabs his 3rd career win, and a big one happening right here at Daytona International Speedway.
Sean Corr rounding out the top 10 in James Hilton's car. Good run for them.
Clay Campbell, what an impressive run. Finishing in 3rd. Bobby Gerhart, 8-time winner here, finishes 6th.
Last year's winner, John West Townley, finishes up in the 11th spot.
Jeb Burton at a top 30 finish.
Some of the real strong cars got taken out in that big one. Mark Thompson, Will Kimmel, Justin Boston, Justin Allison, all taken out.
You know, impressed with Buster Graham, the qualifying effort that they were able to do, but just got caught up in something of not of his doing, and that caused the big one.
What a great day for Grant Enfinger, though, and Howard Bixby and that entire team to win here at Daytona.
The big one happened early, and then it was strategy that put Grant Enfinger out in front. He was able to hang on and grab the win at Daytona. Coming up now on Fox Sports 1, Race Day starts right now.